So, welcome back, listeners. So,
Welcome back, everybody.
Damien,
Oh, yes.
I've fallen in love with a new band, and
Ooh, hit me up.
I'm not sure if you heard of them though.
I love good recommendations. I don't
I
know.
know.
Maybe.
I think they're
Is it like a
pretty.
small band?
Yeah, I think they're pretty indie.
Okay, I'm down.
They're called the Grateful Dead.
Wait. Like like the Grateful Dead?
Well, I think it's just pronounced the Grateful Dead, but yeah.
I can't tell if this is a bit.
What do you What do you mean?
The Grateful Dead is a new band that you're recommending to me.
Yeah.
The, the Grateful Dead that has been
Mhm.
around for 40 years.
I'm not sure if that they've been around that long, but no,
Christian, your
I,
favorite ice cream is Cherries Garcia.
yeah, it's delicious.
You, so you mean it, you don't know that that's a reference to the Grateful Dead?
I'm still pretty new to the band. I don't think they have any songs about ice cream.
Their lead singer's name is Jerry Garcia.
Nah, I'm pretty sure he's not in the band. I looked him up and there wasn't
Well, he's
any.
dead now.
Maybe that's why I like him now. Is
You like him posthumously. Now that he's dead, you like him. It's like Nirvana. Nobody liked Nirvana until Kurt Cobain himself. Allegedly
alleged unlived himself? You mean
unalived himself. Sorry for YouTube
that?
algorithm.
Yep, I was about to say that's another YouTube.
Oh, so many edits are going to happen on this
Yeah,
episode. Okay, seriously, do you have a recommendation for me?
yeah. The Grateful Dead.
I am so frustrated at you right now. I cannot. Maybe it's the traffic cone on your head, or the fact that your body's blending in with the background of your wall. I can't take you seriously right now. What are you talking about? The Grateful Dead has been around and is probably one of the biggest known bands in
I
American
I
history.
have not heard about them until last week.
All right, man. I'll check them out. Thanks for the recommendation.
Yeah, you're welcome, man.
I'll I'll give them a listen for the first time in 40 years.
Yeah. Make sure you give some time because each song's 20 minutes long. So
You can't possibly enjoy that music, dude. I know I know your music taste. It is not the Grateful Dead. Even if
it's
you've just heard them for real, I still can't tell if you're doing some sort of bit, but if you're just now hearing them for the first time as a 34-year-old, there's no way that you actually like it, right?
well, the joke's on you. I'm only 33.
Oof, got me. Well,
Mm-hmm.
point proven. All right. Go ahead and listen to
Will get back.
I thought you were going to say I will remember you.
Wake me up.
now that's Evanescence. That
I'm
was one
pretty
of the
sure.
first albums I ever bought, actually.
I'm pretty sure that's Grateful Dead.
Wake me up
Save
inside.
me.
Oh my god. I have to move on from this. I can't tell if that's a bit or not, but if you're just now getting into the Grateful Dead, I will be grateful when you're dead.
More like the Grateful Bread.
More like Cherries Garcia.
Yeah, I don't get that.
I don't either. Anyways, welcome back to Remain Rome Return, everybody. The two idiots in front of you are struggling to. I think we're missing a wavelength here today. I don't know what the hell you're talking about. I can't tell if you're joking or not. So I think it's best that we just move on.
Move on.
Just like the Grateful Dead song, "Move On."
Move on.
Yeah, move on. So,
Move on.
so what's up, buddy? I wasn't sure that you were gonna still be interested in doing this since the Huskers lost again.
They did. Not
I had to check up.
again.
I had to check up on you. I was
That's
worried.
true. That's true. I it's well, okay. Also, to be fair, the last time you texted me, I was in the football stadium, and that place gets terrible cell phone reception.
I do remember that.
And so like you texted me like 3 times, I think the same text, and I didn't get it until I left the stadium. And then I proceed like not to text you, not because I was sad. It was because of I slept in, and then I'm fighting a cold, so I was just like a lazy piece all of yesterday. And then finally you texted me like, "Are you alive?"
I saw that they lost, and I was like, this might be the final straw for Christian. He might
Nah,
be officially done.
The pain is what fuels me.
Yeah, you've had to get used to it over the last several
You
years.
you do. It was like, yes, it's like Mac and Always Sunny and being like, this is the way of God punishing me for my sins.
That's very true. How is their new coach, by the way? Not to get into, we're not a sports
We are
podcast,
now exclusively a fantasy football podcast. Tony Romo.
We're branching out.
Yes, yes.
How is their new coach, by the way?
Oh, he's actually really good. I think his name's Matt Rule. He seems to be a really good guy and changing things around.
Would you say that he rules with an iron fist?
I guess you could say that, but if you want to, you know,
no wonder they're losing. The morale is low.
The morale is low. No, I think they're headed in the right direction. Like they were so bad, you can only get better. I hope so.
Yeah, it's hard to stay at that level for a long time if you have actual talent, regardless.
Yeah.
Of how bad the coaching is. If you have a little bit of talent on the team, you usually don't stay that low for that long. So I am excited to see that they're doing a little better this season.
Yeah, they are gonna come out. Nebraska's playing at USC here.
Ooh, are you coming out for it?
I've been debating.
When is that again? That's in a couple months, a month or two?
In November, first or second weekend of November.
Okay, that could be fun. I haven't been to a college sporting event since leaving Omaha, actually.
Oh shit!
So like that could be fun.
Was it Creighton or like UNO game?
Thing. I believe it was actually a Husker game. Was the last college sporting event that I went to.
Yeah.
So that could be fun.
Yeah. No,
you wear your Husker stuff. I buy USC stuff. And then we get in a fist fight in the stands.
Yes.
That would be awesome.
Is the Coliseum in a good area? It's right off the 10, I think.
It's better than where I saw Are You
the
Garbage
Palace.
A few weeks ago.
Because, I think it's, I want to say it's just south of the 10.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, we'll go there together for the first time, so... We'll see.
Actually, I do want to check out. Like, it's such a historic building or
stadium. I'm down. If you guys are able to come out, I mean, I don't think you're allowed to come all the way out here without Abby again because
that would be the big thing.
I think she would probably divorce you.
Yeah, that would be the thing. I know Chance has talked about it.
Wait, is Chance coming out here?
About coming out to. He thought he could get tickets. I haven't even looked up how much tickets are.
Yeah, dude, that would be so awesome because you guys can just stay here.
Yeah, that's what I told him. I was like, hey, like Damien would, as long as no one else is there, would probably.
Yeah, just give me a little bit of notice. But as of right now, we don't have anybody on the books for November.
November 16th.
Yeah, let's do it. That sounds fun.
Yeah, I'll talk to him about it.
We've been wanting to get Chance on anyways. Maybe the only way to get him on is in person.
Live. Yeah.
By the way, all of our listeners are like, God help us, do not do more live episodes.
Or at least figure your shit out. Get a what are those fucking called? The mixers.
Yeah. Yeah, that was bad news.
That was bad news. It was.
Well, you heard it here, gang. We are currently planning another Slumber Party edition. So tune in, send us some funds so we can have Christian and Chance not fly Spirit.
You know what? I think I would just might make Chance fly Spirit.
Just make him pay for it.
Yeah, be like, hey man, let's
He's a
Spirit.
lawyer. He can afford it.
But he also has a child, so you know.
Well, the child's not going. Not taking his fucking seat, dude.
We bring the child. Actually, I bring the child instead of James.
There seems to be a mix-up here.
Yes, I am now taking his 2-year-old child with me to LA. It's not kidnap. It's not weird.
Yeah. Well, once again, is it kidnapping or is it just podcasting?
Jeff never gave us a firm answer on that.
I know. He just told us what it is in Thailand, but he did not tell us what it is on U.S. soil.
That's true. I don't even remember what he said for Thailand. So
he said they don't have unions over there, so technically it's not kidnapping; it's just work.
Unpaid labor.
By the way, tune in to our YouTube. We are now releasing full-length episodes on YouTube.
Yes.
We try to put up short clips a couple of times a week, so you can share them and entice people to listen to your new favorite podcast, which is Triple R. And I guess since I'm speaking to the listeners right now,
Yes.
I was thinking we haven't done this in a while because the Slumber Party editions kind of threw us off course a little bit, and we've been trying to course correct. How about we go back to doing some listener questions?
Ooh, listener question episode.
What if we had a theme song for listener questions? That would be fucking awesome.
I don't know why I turned into Adam Sandler there for a second, but we're doing
fucking Hubie Halloween over here.
Listener question episode.
It will be better than that when we release the theme song for it. But we do have a build-up of listener question submissions.
Yes.
And I just haven't been checking the email.
We are bad about checking our emails.
We are very bad about that. And I always tell you I'm checking the email.
Yes.
But it is almost always a lie.
So we're going to tell you to please keep posting our questions.
Yes. We will get to them, I promise.
And fan mail and anything constructive criticism is,
or just blatant disrespect.
Or any
honestly,
interaction,
is fine.
really. Where we love any interaction.
Yeah, anything you want to say. I mean, just hit us up on socials. Really, just don't recommend us to anybody that you're friends with. But recommend us to everyone that you don't like and make them suffer through this if you can. I did hand out a bunch of stickers. Oh, by the way, before we get into the questions, keep an eye out for Remain Rome Return stickers plastered on a public restroom near you.
Yes. If you live in the Los Angeles or Lincoln/Omaha metropolitan areas.
Yeah. Yeah. Actually, I mean,
should we... We're gonna open it up. If you want they're not very big stickers, but we'll send you multiple.
They're very small, but we'll send them to you.
If you send us an address, P.O. Box, or like, hey, I want stickers from us, let us know.
Yeah, let us know. For the small price of just doxing your information on this episode. Yes. Or on this podcast, I mean, not this episode. That would be funny. We retroactively go back and add your information here.
Insert doxing information here now.
No, but Keegan also Hansen. Yeah. Also, speaking of that, even if we can't get you, if you don't feel comfortable sending us your address for the actual stickers, I believe we could send you the QR code.
Yeah.
So I believe we could send that to you to your email address. I think we can give it a shot, and then you can just you pull it up on your phone and have people scan it while you're in the vicinity of people, or just airdrop it to everybody on the Spirit flight.
Yep, that's how it goes. There won't be any fist fights from that.
Yeah,
we should probably post pictures of the stickers on our Instagram.
That's a good point. Coming soon.
Yes.
We will do that. But yeah, man, we're just, we want to give the people what they want. So, if you want stickers, we got you. If you want to leave comments on anything any of our socials, asking us questions, reaching out, anything like that. I will say the listenership has gone up significantly, and I'm pretty excited about that.
Yeah.
So, quick shout out and thanks to everybody who's tuning in and sharing. I got
Yes, thank you. We are
I
very
can't remember.
appreciative.
Yes.
Yes.
And I can't remember if I've brought this up on the pod or not, but I think I brought it up to Christian. I've gotten two in the last month. I've gotten two people who I used to hang out with regularly in Omaha that I haven't spoken to since moving away, who have messaged me out of the blue and just said, I'm loving the podcast. It's really fun to hear you doing this. And, you know, I've always talked about it. I've always talked about doing this. And so to have people who I haven't spoken to in almost a decade reaching out saying that they like the podcast is pretty cool.
No, and I think, I don't think you told on here, but when you told me about it, I was like, think how much they have to like it to like reach out to you to tell you that. Like they must really enjoy it because I'm not reaching out to anyone I haven't talked to in years.
Yeah, it's all
I'm very moved to.
Yeah, it's all just, you know, I'm posting on my personal Instagram, all the stuff that we post on our podcast, Instagram and socials. And when we started releasing episodes on YouTube, I got multiple not emails, direct messages asking for the direct link to the episodes that we're releasing. So just really, you know, we're not moving numbers here. We're not collecting digits here, but it is really cool. And we appreciate anybody who feels like they want to reach out and let us know that you like it. It gives us a reason to keep doing it other than the fact that we're just full of ourselves and like to hear our own voices.
And we're just hanging out.
Yeah, we're just having fun. But I'm glad that people like it.
Yeah.
At the end of the day. So with that said, Christian, do you want to read one of the submissions that we have?
Yes. All right. This question comes from Harold of Places Unknown because he doesn't want to be doxxed, probably.
Yeah, this is definitely a real person.
Yes. What did summer breaks look like for you growing up in Omaha?
It's a really good question. I'll let you can go first.
I think it depends on the stages of my life, right? Of like high school me, like.
Okay, so actually this brings up a good question. I'm going to immediately interrupt you when I said you could take it.
Yes. Thank you.
For me, and I want to see if we're on the same page. When you think growing up, because that's such a vague term and everybody uses it. I use it all the time. What years of your life, when you hear growing up, do you immediately go to? Because I wonder if we're on the same page or not.
Ooh. I would say for me, I think of it at high school.
Okay, so when you think of growing up, you think of high school. Like almost exclusively high school?
No, I guess more of late elementary, early middle school.
Okay, because that's more.
That's I guess more, yeah.
That's more where I think of is more where you're just now starting to formulate your own interests.
Yeah, I think that's like I'm allowed to do stuff without my parents next to me.
Yeah, and like obviously you need permission to do stuff, but when you get that freedom to do stuff, that's when you really start formulating your own thought processes and your own beliefs and your own morality and your own sense of fun and adventure. That's when I think growing up, like I think from maybe middle school to high school is around the age range that I think of growing up. And then being an adult, I would put like 21 and over.
Yeah.
You know, so growing up is about to age 19 or 20.
Yeah, I would say so.
For maybe what, 10?
Yeah.
8 to 20 maybe is the age range we're talking about.
Yeah, I would say maybe 8 to 18 is what I think of.
Okay, that's a good. Yeah. Okay, so given that information, now that we've agreed on what growing up technically means,
Yeah.
what would you say is the answer to is your answer to that question of what did it look like? What did summer break look like? Because also I
Um.
think that's important too because summer break stops existing
Yeah.
after high school.
Yeah. Unless you go to college like me, but
Well, we're
no.
not all spoiled.
Spoiled.
Spoiled with knowledge over here.
Spoiled
Ooh,
with
look at
knowledge.
me.
Yes.
Look at
Yes.
me. I just heard of fucking Grateful Dead and went to law school. Cool. Wow.
I will
Some of us
be back.
suffered through Grateful Dead, and you're just willingly going into it now in your 30s. Anyways, I digress.
Anyways,
I'm still upset
um,
by that.
like thinking back on it, like probably like start of like growing up, it was a very typical Midwest. Like, so both my parents worked, so I was left by myself,
Hmm.
and trying to think what I did. Like, I did go to camp. Like we like one. I'm not sure if it was like as big as thing. Do you remember Hummel Day Camp?
Oh,
Did you
yeah.
ever go to that?
I didn't go, but a lot of people that I grew up
Yeah,
with.
I think it was like a good like mixture. It was like only a week day camp put
Mhm.
on by the city, so I think it was like super affordable.
Yeah.
Probably why I gotta go.
It was like it was like a public
Yeah, and it
camp.
was only
Yeah.
a week. I remember doing that. That was fun. They just drive you out into the scary forest of North Omaha. I
With all the
remember.
albinos.
Yes,
Remember that? Remember
apparently
that myth?
that myth, the hermit,
Yep.
the
The
like
serial
devil.
killers.
That one was real though.
Yeah.
They're the like devil worshippers.
Hmm.
There's a lot.
That was just my cousins.
There's actually a really good. Someone wrote a book about all the like urban legends of Hummel Park.
Honestly, though, a quick shout out recommendation, and this is a real recommendation, unlike fucking Christian's Grateful Dead bullshit. Check out, check out all of the stuff about Hummel Park
Yeah,
in Omaha, Nebraska. You can just Google it, Wikipedia, whatever. It's really fun, very interesting, and as people who grew up there, that sticks with you every time you walk on those grounds. It's very cerebral over there.
yeah. The book I was talking about, I haven't. I've read bits of it. It's called "The Legend of Hummel Park and Other Stories."
Yes.
And it's very good and does a very good job of synopsis and like yeah, it's just kind of cool. It was I think Hummel Park was created as like a New Deal park back in like the 30s,
Hmm.
and it's just north of North Omaha on the river, so like a lot of sketchy stuff has gone down there.
Yeah. Off the beaten path.
To make it a little sad, a girl I went to middle school with went missing, and they found her body in an oil drum in the park in
Yeah.
Hummel Park.
Yeah.
So,
There's a lot of if you're into myths, if you're into stories, fiction, fact, whatever you're into, there's a lot at play there. So I think you could scratch any itch that you have as far as like
yeah,
spooky stories about a real place. It's
yeah,
I would love to do some sort of like we're going to New Orleans pretty
yeah,
soon. And so essentially I would love for there to be some sort of like haunted tour
yeah.
of Hummel in
I think
Omaha,
there
Nebraska.
is. I
Okay,
think
well
there
I mean,
is.
if there is and you're going to Omaha, Nebraska for business, because I think that's probably the only reason, sign up for that tour if it exists. And if not, maybe we'll get one going through the podcast,
Yeah, it's
like some sort of virtual one, because that
maybe.
shit is spooky.
Yeah, maybe we'll do a like now that's almost spooky season during the month of October. I know we're both kind of busy, but to do a like a little recap of like
Yeah.
all of them. I might read I might go buy the book right now after we're done with this, and because it's yeah. As a child, it's terrifying, and they're like,
Yeah.
"Ha, day camp."
Yeah. Well, and even as an adult, it's pretty spooky if you go at night.
Oh God, yeah. I've
It's
like
so
that.
easy to get lost.
Yeah, it's something you do like when you're 17, 18 on a night and you don't have anything better to do.
Hmm.
Um, yeah.
There's a really really classic story within my family and with Keegan and Indigo that I'll get into when we do that episode.
Hmm.
I don't want to spoil it right now,
Okay.
but there's a story about a night that we all went there,
Oh,
uh, and it is a classic.
was it during spooky season or was it
It
during?
was it was
Oh, it's
during
that.
fall,
Oh,
and there was a chill in the air,
yep,
and we just happened to be in that area getting some food
yep,
and hanging out, and it was shortly before Abby and I were about to move,
yeah.
and we wanted to, if I'm not mistaken, it was around the time of the meteor shower.
Oh, that adds up to it too.
So I'll just leave it there and keep tuning in to later episodes. We'll get into a whole Hummel Park episode, and we'll get into that story as well, because we had our own adventure as adults there that was hilarious and traumatizing.
Yes,
Some of us still haven't recovered.
and you moved away. That's
Yeah,
why.
we had to run.
Yep. Yeah.
Anyways, back to the question at hand. So, growing up, you had Hummel Day
Uh,
Camp.
Yep. A lot of like one of my best friends grew up like 4 houses down. So going to his house, they had a pool, which was
Mhm.
super nice. So yeah, just riding bikes, playing outside. I grew up playing baseball, so like going to baseball practice. Very like all American kind of summer. Going to
Mhm.
like the public pool because my neighborhood had a public pool. There was also my parents I grew up by the Jewish Community Center,
Yep.
which also has a pool, so we'd go there as well. So a lot of just going to pool, and then a lot of just like dicking around on Xbox.
Yeah. There's a reason that the movie Snack Shack we've talked about
Yeah,
at nauseum, because I mean it is very very accurate
yeah,
to what a hooligan gets up to in Nebraska, um, growing up. But my growing up, especially during the summers. Now, keep in mind, I grew up in what is I mean, the outskirts of Benson
yeah,
in Omaha, but on the so-called other side of the tracks, the bad part of the
yeah.
tracks. Um, so I grew up over there, and I was never home, even in the like even during the school year.
Yeah.
My whole childhood growing up in Omaha, Nebraska, was spent outside, rain, sun, or
Yep.
snow. I was outside playing with my
Yep.
friends. We lived in a little ranch down in Benson, right on the outskirts of Benson, on Ames Avenue. So
Ooh,
anybody
yeah.
who knows,
Omaha.
right around I believe it was like 50th and
Yep.
Ames at the time, and all of my friends lived either directly in the houses behind me, so we were connected just by a chain link fence,
Yep.
or scattered around the neighborhood. And you know what I've noticed as an adult is I cannot remember, I can't explain to you how those relationships and those friendships were built, because I don't remember ever like meeting all of my best friends growing up. Do you have that too, where you were friends with people in the neighborhood and for the life of you don't know how you became friends? Like
Um.
what started it? We just like ran into each other one day and were friends from there, or what happened? Like,
Yeah, I know for a lot of mine was like I went to elementary school. Like my
yeah, I
parents
didn't
lived
go
up.
to school with any of them.
Yeah, so mine's different in that instance of so like my parents still in the same house. I only grew up in one house, which is different from a lot of people.
Hmm.
just because they got a really good deal on it and fixed it up, and
Mm-hmm.
we're like, well, we're staying here forever
Yeah.
now. Um, but I went to elementary school with all the kids in my neighborhood, so
Okay.
like that's how I knew them, which sounds different from you. But I think there is like, yeah, you just are out and your mom's probably like, hey, go play out with the neighbor kid,
Mm-hmm.
or like kids, yeah, and like grades that were different than mine. It was just like, well, we're both outside. So your mom's like, hey, go play with them or like get outside. And so I think that's
Yeah.
kind of how.
Because I always thought it was crazy because my mom never knew any of my friends'
Yeah.
parents in the neighborhood. She knew all of the parents that I hung out with from school,
Yeah.
who I went to school with, but she never really knew or met any of the local neighborhood kids' parents ever.
Yeah.
But I was with them and at their houses
Yeah.
more than I was at my own. So it's just that weird time frame of like nobody knows where you are
Mm-hmm.
at any given time. I was at Princeton's house, I was at Trent's house, I was at Armand's house, I was at Ryan's house. Every single day I was at somebody else's house just hanging out with neighbor kids, and for the
Yeah.
life of me I don't remember meeting them, but I remember spending every waking second with
Yeah.
them. And so growing up in Omaha, Nebraska for me was just strictly friends, just hanging out with friends all the time. If it wasn't at school, I was hanging out with friends.
Yeah.
One of some of my favorite memories with the neighborhood kids, we used to quote unquote like film movies,
Yeah.
and we didn't have a camcorder, we didn't have a camera. We were just we came up with a storyline. Everybody had characters,
Yeah.
and we just everything that we were doing was part of a movie set. And so it was we had a running theme called Space Force 9,
Yeah.
and it was a futuristic, we're in space solving these space crimes and space detectives and shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like that was most of my time growing up, was
Yeah.
just make believing that we were in space, or we're in anime. We loved like Dragon Ball Z,
Mm-hmm.
so we were in animes. We were like pretending to fist fight and arresting each other and doing all this stuff. So that was what it was like growing up for us. And regardless of what the weather was,
Yeah.
if it was a blizzard, we'd go outside in full winter outfits.
Yeah.
And I mean, I remember pretending we were at war with a an ancient alien civilization who were like snow creatures.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's what it looked
You
like
had
for
good
me.
imaginations.
Yeah. Yeah, so that was growing up for me, and then I didn't really ever go to camps. The only camp that I did go to was the Harlem Globetrotters camp.
What?
Yeah. Yeah. Always been a big basketball fan,
Yeah.
and so I went to the Harlem Globetrotters camp when I was younger. Other than that, no camps, just hanging out with friends, sleeping over
Yeah.
at friends' houses, playing a lot of video games, make believe, and talking shit, really, just making fun of each other.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Damn, that was a great question.
That
Thanks,
was a good question.
Harold.
Harold. Yeah, no. Yeah, I feel like we had very mid. It's probably similar for like. I did have friends who were like in all the camps,
Mm-hmm.
and it was like, well, I'll hang out with you later, I guess.
Yeah.
While you're at like golf camp.
Here's a somber question to go along with this. Do you happen to remember the last time hanging out with those friends?
Who? So let's see. Of those friends, maybe high school. Because again,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't move ever, and so like, of course, I still hang out with my childhood best friend Daniel quite a bit. Like I hung out with him like 2 weekends ago. Shout out Daniel.
Get him on the pod.
Yeah, we should get him on the pod. So I, Keys, still in Omaha, still in our same area of Omaha.
Yeah.
So I still hang out with him, but yeah, a lot of the neighborhood kids all kind of moved away. I don't think many, like my mom keeps in contact with their parents, and I'm thinking of, yeah, I don't think any of them really live in Nebraska anymore
Okay.
besides me.
Yeah,
I guess
I
it's different for
remember
you because when did you move to the Millard area or start going to like,
8th grade.
okay.
Yeah, so I lived in the outskirts of Benson from like I want to say age 6.5 or 7
Yeah.
until the end of 7th grade, and then moved to Millard for 8th grade.
Okay.
But yeah, I still have the picture of my last official day in Benson
Yeah.
with my best friends of the neighborhood, and we all knew it was the last day.
Yep.
And my mom, I think one of those like disposable ones where you
Yeah.
have to take it in to get the pictures
Yep.
printed.
Yep. I remember
She had
those
one of
buttons.
those cameras, and it was the end of the night. Me and all of my friends hung out from like sun up to sundown.
Yeah.
And as soon as the lights came on, the street lights came
yeah.
on, everybody had to go.
Yep.
And so everybody dispersed except for Princeton, who was my backyard neighbor. So we
Yeah.
shared a backyard. And it was our last time hanging out. And my mom came out and was like, "All right, it's time to come in." And then I asked her to go get the camera, and she took a
Yeah.
picture of him literally holding me, because he was like, so we share the same exact birthday. Or no,
Okay.
he's one day before me.
Yeah.
But he's like 4 or 5 years older than me.
Oh wow.
And so we literally grew up together.
Yeah.
And so the final picture of me in that house was with him holding me in his arms like a baby, like literally cradling me in his arms like a baby. And I still have that picture framed to this day.
Holy. Have you talked to Princeton in the 2 decades?
No, not really. It's one of those things where you try to keep up on social media,
Yeah.
but just everything gets away from you and you're not in the vicinity of each other anymore, and life happens and different interests occur. And to his credit, I will give him all of the credit. He was very, very, very good about reaching out to me for a long time.
Damn.
Inviting me out to birthdays, inviting me to movies and stuff like that. And I could never make it work.
Yeah.
So to his credit, he really did his best to keep in contact. So I always have felt bad about not being able to keep up on that relationship, because he was by far my best friend growing up, in those age groups. So shout out Princeton.
Which is funny because I think about so Abby, her best friend is still the same one from when her best friend Amanda moved down the street, and they've just still hang out. Like, we hang out with her. She has like 3 kids, and like, we're Uncle Christian and Aunt Abby to them.
Yeah.
And it's just like, yep, they just happen to move in down the street.
Yeah. So I think that's probably the saddest part of growing up is realizing that you just have to move on, and you have to move forward and move to different places and live your own life. So, but yeah, that was growing up for me. I mean, I saw my friends not only in the neighborhood. I mean, we would watch movies. We would have slumber parties.
Oh yeah.
That's where I learned my favorite style of popcorn, which is the movie theater style in the blue bag.
Yeah.
And then you put half into a bowl,
mm-hmm.
and you put hot sauce on that.
Ooh.
And then you put the other half on top and put hot sauce on that and then lemon pepper.
Okay.
And you shake it up, and you have seasoned popcorn. And then, so that was your main course.
Yeah.
For the movie. And then dessert for the movie was brown sugar. So you'd pop that same bag of
Yeah.
another bag of popcorn, put half into the bowl, brown sugar all over it, other half brown sugar, and then you mix it up and put a little bit of salt in there, so it's almost like your own caramel corn.
Yeah, like ghetto.
I mean, we did shit
corn.
like that.
Yeah,
for every single weekend.
Yeah,
you know, that's where I got introduced to like Austin Powers and
Mhm.
Liar Liar, and we just watched all that stuff, all the anime, played all the video games and stuff like that. So yeah, it was pretty cool, man. There's definitely a lot of bad things that have happened to me.
yeah.
But growing up in that area specifically, even how tumultuous that area is with all the gunshots and all the robberies and all the whatever, that's still probably some of the best times of my life.
Oh yeah.
So
now I feel like we need to have more adult sleepovers, but now we all have bad backs and can't sleep in a sleeping bag or want to sleep on a couch.
Mm-hmm. Well, and keep in mind too, now we all have our own lives that we've cultivated that we don't, we take vacations, right?
Yes.
But as a kid, those are your vacations.
It kind of is.
Like, I don't want to go home. I don't want to be around the family. I'm going to go hang out with my buddy at his place because it's not my family. It's my vacation time. We're just hanging out, watching movies, doing stuff like that. But you can't do it at your own house because you're home.
Yes.
Right? And so you switch off. Some days it's my house, some days it's your house, but we each get vacations from our own houses,
I do love though how like even as like quote unquote adults, after we'd go out to the bars, we'd crash. Like I would take sleepovers at the duplex on Dodge at your place.
Yes, sir. And I've always, to be 100% honest, I've always had that. I still have that mindset of like, I really, really enjoy hanging out with people. That in my mind, that is what being alive is about.
Yeah.
It's about hanging out with people and making memories, having a good time with the people that you enjoy spending time with, because so much of our lives is filled with doing shit we don't want to do with people we don't like.
Yeah.
So when you finally have those moments of getting together with people, it's like that. That is what I want to do. That is how I like to spend my life.
Oh yeah. No, that is so true.
Yeah. So thanks for the emotional question, Harold, you dickhead. Here's a good one.
Okay.
Is there a book that you read as a kid that you've always wished for to have a movie or TV adaptation?
Ooh. I'll let you go first.
Yes. As a kid growing up, I would say the series called Pendragon.
Okay.
I think there's 10 books, and I read them all the way through as a kid, and I was obsessed with them. And then I actually, as an adult, probably 4 or 5 years ago, not even, maybe 2 or 3 years ago, I started rereading them again because I was feeling nostalgic and I wanted to. And I read through the entire 10-book series again, and I'm like, how is this not a franchise? How is this not a bigger thing? Because I don't know anybody else really who has ever read those books.
I've never heard of them.
Yeah, and they are teen young adult fantasy novels.
Yeah.
And it's about traveling to different dimensions, and this kid named Bobby Pendragon is the protagonist, and he goes to different eras of different dimensions, whether it's Earth or a different planet or a different time zone or whatever, and he saves that dimension from imminent death. And sometimes he doesn't, sometimes he does. But I just really loved the fact that he was battling different villains in different time eras and different dimensions and different planets. Just a really intriguing book style.
Yeah.
And I still think, to this day, how is this not some sort of like Disney Plus TV show, or like I think it'd be great as like an Amazon TV show. You make it kind of, instead of a young adult, you make it kind of like a PG-13 style.
Yeah, I could like, especially since fantasy is so hot right now.
Exactly. And
Like,
especially with the interdimensional stuff too. You know, everything everywhere all at once, and the Marvel
yes.
universe and all that shit. Like this happened way before all that stuff happened. So
Okay.
shout out Pendragon. If I know if you know if you're an adult, it may not seem that interesting to you, but I think it's very very good, and I still would love to see some sort of film adaptation to that.
Yeah. Yeah. Because of the series, which one's your favorite book?
I think the third one.
The third one.
Let me see. I can't. It's been a while since I've looked at those. Let me look up. Jamie, pull that up. Pendragon series. Merchant of Death.
Merchant
I
of
don't know if
Death.
that's for sure the third one. Oh wait, it's this one right here. Oh no, I'm sorry. It's The Reality Bug, part 4.
Hmm.
So book 4, The Reality Bug, is my favorite. But I really like book 5 as well, Blackwater. Shout out DJ McHale. He's the author. Very, very good. He's got a bunch of different book series as well. I really like his writing style. But yeah, very, very good. Can't recommend it enough. Merchant of
I'm
Death, by the way, is the first one, which is why it came to mind first.
oh. Um, I'm trying to think. I will admit, I did not read a lot as a child.
Dyslexia.
Did my dyslexia? Yeah,
Yeah.
no. It. I'm finally getting back into reading. Shit. I'm even
Probably
trying
the
to.
Hummel Park book is your favorite.
Yeah. No. Because yeah, even as a kid, I loved reading nonfiction. I was a
Mm-hmm.
little fucking nerd that way.
Just
And a
say
lot.
Mein Kampf and move on. We all know that's what's coming.
No, they did make a live action version.
It's called the Holocaust.
Yes. Shit, and I'm trying to think. A lot of the books I did read is already made into like I liked Harry Potter,
Mm-hmm.
but what kid didn't? I just looked up. I guess they did make a Boxcar Kids movie,
Oh yeah. Yep.
the animated one.
That's
That
that's
looks
a classic book though.
yeah, it's a good book series.
Yeah. I think I
And
only read the first one, but
I like the series an unfortunate event, but again,
those are
that
great.
will be
Here's
in a new
one.
movie.
Here's one that I think you may have read, and if you haven't, I'll give you a recommendation.
Okay.
Because the second book in the series is either out now or is coming out this month.
Okay.
It's called The House on the Cerulean Sea.
I have read that.
It is, and I didn't read it as a kid. I just read it probably 6 months ago, and
Yeah.
I'm telling you right now, I think that's my favorite book of all time.
Really?
I absolutely love it.
Yes, I have.
It's
Now that I see
so
the back
goddamn
cover.
interesting, and it's so well written, and it's another kind of like fantasy
Mhm.
style book, but it is so good, and there's no way that doesn't get turned into some sort of film.
It, I think, will.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's no way it doesn't. Like it's I could see
It's a New
Disney
York
getting a hold of it.
Times.
Yeah,
It's a New York Times bestseller. It's going to be. It's
yeah. Or like I could see Netflix getting a hold of it. Damn, it's so good, and the new one's coming out soon. So if you haven't read that yet, anybody, I would highly recommend House on the Cerulean Sea. And then of course anything by Neil Gaiman. I fucking love him so much.
yeah.
Any of his, and of course, Coraline got turned into
Yeah.
a movie, but any of his books would be well served as a franchise of film or TV.
Mhm. Yes.
Anyways,
Yeah.
great question. I wish I could
So
make up a name of who submitted that, but that was just me.
that was just yes. You just want to make me feel stupid for once.
What are some other questions that we have submitted?
Um, let's see. Oh, one from the list. Don't know
Okay.
if not credit anyone, so this might be yours. Are there any songs slash musicians that immediately make you think about being in the car with your parents?
That is a good one. Um, anything Alanis Morissette, any Alanis Morissette song, um, absolutely. And honestly, my mom has a very similar musical taste to me.
Yeah,
So, I mean, fucking Bon Jovi, Queensryche, Breaking Benjamin, um,
ICP.
Metallica, yeah, Insane Clown Posse specifically. But yeah, any of those like late '90s, early 2000s, and some from the early '80s, she was still stuck on when I was growing up too. So a lot of great rock songs that played on the radio back in the day
Hmm.
make me think of driving in the car with her.
Let's see. For my mom, very specifically, she had a Dixie Chicks CD that was in the
Okay.
car far too long. Earl by the Dixie Chicks, very specifically. I know that
Okay.
song way too well. A lot of Enya.
And yep.
Yep, I really
Yep.
enjoy Enya because of my
Absolutely.
mom. Probably the best one that I got from her is Elton John. I
Hey,
love
dude.
Elton
I
John.
fucking love Elton. That's another karaoke song for me as well.
Yeah,
Any of
only
his
hit.
really.
All and so like for my mom's birthday when I lived out in Denver, I flew her out and took her to see Elton John, and she
Hmm.
really enjoyed it. Fantastic. Like this was supposed to be his final tour. I don't know if he's ended it quite yet,
Did you
but like
watch it? On I think it was on Disney Plus. They actually had
I
his final show.
no, I haven't seen it, but when we
Very
saw him
good.
in Denver, like top 5 concerts of
Oh my
life.
god, dude, I'm so jealous.
That one, yeah. And then for my dad, the Moody Blues,
Okay.
Pink Floyd for sure. I liked Pink Floyd because of him.
And not the Grateful Dead, huh?
No, not the Grateful Dead until very recently.
Okay.
And then Simon and Garfunkel. I
Okay.
love Simon.
Good one.
It definitely shows the age of my parents versus your parents of
Yeah.
like me having old ass parents and you having a young mom.
Yeah, well, I think the thing that this spawns in my brain growing up too is me and my mom and I really love listening to music in the car and like karaokeing.
Yeah.
So we'll turn it up as loud as we can and just like sing along to it and have a good
Hmm.
time and enjoy the music. Uh, but it reminds me this is the kind of stepdad that I had for a little while, which was if any song ever came on that my
Yes.
mom and I liked and we
Would you
started
change it?
singing it, he would either turn it off, just silence, or he would change it to some like 1910, 1920s uh, radio station where he knew that we wouldn't know any of the songs.
That's a dick move.
Yeah, like he could not handle the fact that we were having a good time
Yeah.
with music. So that's how I grew up with music. Either you belt it from the top of your
Yeah.
lungs or you don't even speak about what you enjoy.
Actually, another ironically enough CD that I associate with road trips because again we were poor, so if we were going anywhere, we were going in our like '97 minivan.
Mm-hmm.
The Beach Boys.
Oh,
So it was
I
good
didn't
to.
know I didn't know you've been a fan of me for so long.
I know that's why I'm so heartbroken when you're like, actually, I'm not in the Beach Boys.
Yeah. Yeah,
I thought
nothing to do with them, unfortunately.
I had a childhood dream of mine come true that I knew a Beach Boy.
Actually, another that spawned another memory of road trips. We had road trip music, which was essentially just all of the late '90s, early 2000s alt rock,
Hmm.
which is Matchbox 20, Counting Crows, Better Than Ezra,
Yeah.
Oasis, hilariously enough. like all of that style of music was our road trip music. If we were
Yeah.
ever driving for a long distance of time, I remember specifically Autumn and Everything After by the Counting Crows. Still to this day is not only one of the most perfect albums of all time,
Yeah.
but probably has one of the most nostalgic feelings for me of any album ever. Because, and I saw them live at the Stir Cove in Omaha,
Hmm.
and like almost cried the entire time
Yeah.
because that dude's voice.
Mr. Jones and me.
Yeah, I mean that sounded exactly like him.
I nailed it. And
Yeah,
I can
that
see
was
the
fantastic.
tear welling in your eye right now.
Just one single tear down my face.
Yep, just from that
Um,
one little lyric, you little bitch.
Yeah, that was a great question. And I think we'll end on this one.
Okay.
I think this is actually you tell me. You tell me. Look at the list and tell me if we should end on the parents one
Mm-hmm.
or if we should end on the sent home with a document one. Because I don't want to go through all of these.
Let's do parent one because
Okay.
the document one doesn't apply to me. It only applies to you.
Okay. So this one is actually from Indigo.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out again,
Oh,
Indigo.
nice.
A very
Number one triple R's.
yeah, number one Romy.
Yep.
And she simply asks, "Are your parents funny?"
Ooh. Do you want to go first or do you want me to go first?
You got it.
Okay. So I always joke with Abby and most people of like I'm a perfect mixture of both my parents. My dad's like super weird and kind of introverted, and then my mom's very like extroverted, and I got the best of both worlds.
Mm-hmm.
And then we joke my sister got the worst of both worlds because she's very. But no, my dad has a very dry sense of humor. It's probably where I do get a lot of my comedy abilities because he exposed me a lot of British comedy when I was a child.
Yeah.
So like Monty Python is like the thing me and my dad connect on the most about. Or like another thing I get from my dad is changing the lyrics of songs.
Oh my God. That is huge in my family as well.
Yep. I definitely get that from my dad. And I wouldn't say my mom's not funny, but like more extroverted, which has helped me be funny. Like
Sure.
I definitely was like the center of attention kind of for my family.
Mm-hmm. You don't
as
say.
a child. Yeah.
What a surprise. What a shocker.
Very outspoken. But yeah, my dad's funny in like where he'll like more like I don't want to say blue collar like funny, but like there's sometimes where like he'll say a joke and I'll get it, but the people around us won't.
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh God, like an awkward funny.
Yep.
Where he just says weird, awkward things that are supposed to be jokes, but like the people around us don't get them.
Yeah.
And it's just I just have to laugh on the inside kind of thing.
Like the type of funny where you have to know them
yes.
to get that it's funny.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so yeah, so I get it from my dad, but I get my awareness of being funny from my mom, which is
okay.
a good combo.
Would you say your dad does a lot of like dad jokes, or is it more even closer to the vest than that? Because I feel like dad jokes
closer to the vest. My dad doesn't do dad jokes. They're
okay.
Just my dad did tell me my favorite dirty joke that I absolutely love that he told me probably too young as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
How does it go? So the premise is, hey, if I wash my cock, will you suck it?
Okay.
And the response is usually no, right?
Right.
And so I was like, you dirty cocksucker.
That's pretty good, honestly.
That is such a fucking funny joke.
That's pretty good.
That's one of my favorite dirty jokes that my dad taught me.
I like that. I'm stealing it.
Yeah,
it's going in the bit book.
Yep, it's a good one. It's a good not it's a good one-liner kind of joke that
Yeah.
old people tell. So
Street joke.
yes, it's a good
Yeah.
street joke.
Speaking of going in the bit book, I think we should eventually have an episode where we go through some of our dumbest bits, because I have a bit book full of jokes that are not funny.
Yeah.
And I think that'd be a fun episode.
So the entire book.
Yeah, the whole thing. Every single one in there.
All right. So what about your meme?
Well, I think I'll start out on a soapbox by saying I think that being funny isn't just the ability to make people laugh.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna start out by saying that, and that is not to say that my mom doesn't make people laugh, because she does. My mom is very funny. I will say more specifically than my mom being funny is my mom has an incredible sense of humor.
I'll say, now that you say it, with my mom, very good sense of humor and always willing to laugh, which
Yes.
I think as a child you absolutely need as a funny child. You need
Yes.
that validation of laughing, and my mom was always that.
Yeah, and so I learned from a very, very young age that being funny isn't solely making people laugh.
Mm-hmm.
Being funny can also be going with the bit.
Yes.
Being funny can also be, maybe I don't have street jokes at hand or quips or anything like that, but if you can understand that somebody is telling a joke and you can viscerally react to it in a genuine way and understand that it's funny, is funny. That is funny, because laughter is funny. People laughing is funny. And so I'll say, yes, my mom is funny. Not only can she make people laugh, but she also probably laughs more than anyone I know.
Which is great.
Which is fantastic. Like, that is where I got, because, for instance, I've always said this about myself. I'm not funny in the sense that I can tell you a well orchestrated joke.
Yeah.
It's just not. I think people who can do that are fantastically funny, but I also think that's more of a skill in writing.
I was about to say, that's more writing being versus naturally funny, if that makes sense.
Like, yeah, I think that shows a clever, intelligent mind.
Mm-hmm.
When I think of outwardly funny, I think of people who, even when they're being serious, the way that they say things is funny, or the way that they come off, no matter what, is funny. And, when I was growing up, my mom was a huge Jim Carrey fan, huge Adam Sandler fan, loved SNL, loved all of the, like, Beavis and Butthead, and just everything, all encompassing comedy. And what you learn as a kid from that situation, when your mother is watching these with you and laughing at jokes that even you don't understand, you understand that there's really nothing off limits.
Yeah.
Like, go for it. Whether it's like physical comedy like Jim Carrey, or whether it's cerebral comedy in the form of, like, Liam Neeson. Shit like that. Like, I'm not a huge Airplane fan, but the fact that she can laugh at both of those is really, or like Monty Python or things like that, where it's like, when you're growing up as a kid, you don't understand those jokes, but you see somebody laughing at them, and then that formulates in your brain as like, okay, so I don't just have to be physically an idiot to get laughs. Yeah. You can be funny in multiple ways, and people who are funny, people who are truly funny, are gonna get it regardless of which one you do. Yeah. And so, yes, my mom is funny, but more than just being funny, she has one of the best senses of humor, which is everything is on the table. We'll laugh at anything that comes across, whether it's stupid, clever, or anywhere in between.
Hmm.
there's going to be some laughter happening.
There's, I will say, some of the hardest times I've laughed are with my mom, where it's that point where like you're both laughing so hard you can't talk, or like even when you try to talk, it just nothing, like you laughs just come out,
Hmm.
and so you're both just losing it.
Yeah, you can't
I
even
will,
get to the punchline. Like you can't even get to the point that you're trying to make because you're just doubled over, like snorting.
yeah,
Yeah, we actually
and
had
you're
that in
both,
Germany.
yeah,
We were just
eh,
drunk. We got done at the Hofbrauhaus, and it was. And the other reason why I respect her sense of humor so much is because being the mother of a fucking ham,
yeah,
most of my jokes when my mom is around are at her expense.
hmm,
I'm usually making fun of her.
yes,
And we were just getting done at Hofbrauhaus, and we were like browned out, on the
hmm,
verge of just like blacking out. And I was making fun of her, and she was like, she couldn't even walk because she was laughing so hard. So that's why
yeah,
it's like being able to laugh not only at what's funny, but laughing when people make fun of you
yeah.
is truly what makes
She can
people
also
funny.
take a joke, which it sounds like
Oh, I mean,
that's also
she
huge.
has no choice.
Yeah,
Like that's
yeah,
our my whole family is like that. And I think that's a testament to not even just my mom, but our whole
hmm,
family. Like I grew up in the same house as my uncles for the first 7 years of my life, and all I heard was them insulting each other to their faces.
yeah,
you know I grew up in a family where everybody just makes fun of each other to their face. We just ball bust, and that's how I
hmm,
treat my siblings, that's how I treat my mom, that's how my uncles treat each other, that's how everybody treats me. Like
yeah,
nobody is too vulnerable or too good to laugh at.
hmm,
And so I think I am very lucky for all of the things that have happened negatively in my life.
hmm,
We have always, regardless of what happens, been able to laugh at it.
yeah. And I think that that is kind of almost like a lower income family thing of like there's too much other bad shit going on right now, be it someone health wise, money wise, like so much going on, you have to laugh.
Yeah. Because if
And
you
I think,
don't, what's the alternative?
yeah,
What, I'm just going to be sad forever?
yeah. And so
You
I
know?
think that is a huge part of, yeah, being especially lower middle class family is
Mm-hmm.
like so much other shit. It's bad. You just have to enjoy those kind of moments.
Well, and those are the moments, sitting around when, and I know you grew up kind of like lower middle
Hmm.
class. We grew up pretty much
Yeah.
low class
Yeah.
financially, and some of our most important memories, it goes back to what I was saying about like friendship growing up.
Yeah.
All of our best memories are sitting down in the living room of a 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom apartment with all of us watching an Adam Sandler movie,
Hmm.
watching a Jim Carrey movie, having some, fucking hot pockets and skim milk for dinner,
Yeah.
and having the best conversations, bullshitting, making fun of each other, doubling over laughing. Everybody's
Yeah.
crying because they're laughing so hard. That is what I think of when I think of funny.
Hmm.
I don't think anybody from my family, including me, could go up on stage and make a theater full of 1,000 people laugh
Yeah.
intentionally. But I think you take a couple of those 1,000 people at any given time and bring
Hmm.
them into the room with us, and I think everybody's going to laugh.
Yeah.
So that's my long answer to that question of yes, my mom is funny, but not just in the sense of like verbally can make people laugh, but she gets it,
Yes. Yeah.
you know.
No, I think that's a great answer.
Yeah.
And those were, yeah, very good question. Thank you, Indigo.
Yeah. Yeah. I think this might be the most nostalgic
It really was.
podcast we've had so far. It's got me thinking about a lot of things from the past, and it got me thinking maybe we get into some growing up stuff in the next few episodes of talking about,
Yeah.
growing up in the Midwest and some memories and stories that we have. I think kind of we got away from that for a little while and we're just kind of shooting the shit, but maybe that'll be a
Yeah,
little
I think maybe
interesting.
next episode, since we're not, you guys won't notice that we're taking a week or two off, but with the episodes, because they'll still catch up. But
You know,
we got busy lives coming up.
yeah, we won't be able to record for a couple weeks. So,
But yeah, maybe next time we that might be his next about just Midwest growing up and Omaha, because we both grew up in Omaha, but very different parts of Omaha.
yeah, there's a lot of
times.
stories that, and I think I've talked about this before, but there's a lot of times where I don't remember most things from my past until we start having a conversation.
Yeah.
And then we start talking. I'm like, oh my God, that reminds me of this time when
Yeah.
this and this and this happened. And I think that would be really fun to kind of break up the having guests on or talking about this city versus that city,
Mhm.
is maybe talking about, you know, a little bit of our lives and what
Yeah.
formed us into who we are. So if you're interested in stuff like that, let us know. If you want us to stay on track with the guests and talking about the actual theme of this podcast, let us know. I'm down for either, but this was kind of cathartic
Mhm.
and honestly fun to talk about. I haven't thought about a lot of that stuff in a long time, so keep the questions coming.
Yeah. And as always, I will get by.
Yeah, I guess to all of you out there, check out the Grateful Dead.
I will get by.
And with that, bye.